Been over 20 days now, Israel and Hamas have been locked in an intense war in the full-blown conflict that has been triggered by the broad daylight massacre of over 1,400 Israelis, and that happened on the 7th of October. With the brutal air assaults, Israel is now targeting Hamas terror infrastructures by land and by sea ambush. The Israeli army, backed by fighter jets and drones, carried out a second limited ground raid into Northern Gaza yesterday, where several Hamas targets in Shujaya area were reportedly struck by Israeli ground forces overnight. Israeli naval forces have also launched targeted raids from the Mediterranean Sea into southern Gaza, destroying Hamas's maritime infrastructure, as Israeli soldiers even entered a compound being used by Hamas's commando naval forces and targeted it. Hamas terrorists were caught off guard when the ships fired back-to-back missiles. Let's listen into the sonic boom. Meanwhile, on the other hand, Israeli jets continue to rain fire and fury from the skies. From the command centers to military observation posts, Israel claims it flattened over 250 Hamas targets in just one day. It says it has dropped bunker busters on Hamas's terror tunnels, which contained rockets and anti-tank missiles. According to the Israeli Defense Forces, they identified and targeted multiple terror sites like the anti-tank missile launch sites and military command and control centers during their second ground raid in Gaza. The troops successfully withdrew from the area and no Israeli soldier were harmed during the mission. As a full-fledged ground assault, the Israeli government is yet to take a call on that. But one thing they say they are sure of is that the question of them to either take them or us. Let's take a look at this report from the thick of action taking place in Gaza.
We are just a few meters away from the Gaza border, and you can hear the sounds of the explosion, and you can see that there are several tanks deployed along the Gaza border. Anytime these tanks will be given order to just move inside. This is Markava tank. This is considered to be one of the best. And since morning, there's a lot of tension in this area. Often the siren sound is heard. Rockets are being fired from across, and they're also going for the retaliatory action. They're trying to target them. And this tank is, see, right now also while I'm talking to you, there's a sound of explosion. There's a sound of explosion. So there is an uncertain atmosphere. There's a lot of unpredictability in the area. And so there's a lot of tension right now because we are just a few meters away from the border, and you can hear that sound of those explosions. So we had been asked to just lie here. That is the only way you can just prevent yourself from this explosion. See, right now the explosions are going on, and it's a very tense atmosphere, and it's continuing because already you have seen the two phases of the war. Now the third phase is already going to start. IDF officer already said that now if they will go inside Gaza, because they will go inside Gaza, they are going to decimate all those people, Hamas terrorists who had resorted to barbarism, brutality. And right now also you can see, because this is the best way, and these tanks are ready, these armored vehicles are ready to take on enemy. Right now you can see there's a shelling going on. There's a shelling going on, and explosion sound can be heard. We're just hiding behind this tank right now to save ourselves from any kind of a shrapnel, the killer shrapnel flooding in the air, hitting. So that's the best thing to do. Either you should move towards any of those areas, or you should be behind any of these vehicles to save your life. So tension here, uncertainty here continues.
What I saw here was not only sadism, not only brutality. It was related to monsters. I feel mercy for the people who needs a particular proof of the decapitation. I feel mercy for the people who needs a proof of how they decapitated, and I have pictures of decapitated head, and I will not show it to you. This is not revenge. Right now, it's professionally. It's a military, professional plan how to get the cancerous entity that's right now involved with citizens inside Gaza.
In a breaking update, Israeli Defense Forces continue to share more information on the assault that is now being carried out. As far as they go on to say that it's been 36 years of Hamas terrorizing Israel is more than enough. And also the statement came in from Israel's permanent ambassador to the United Nations saying that his country was not waging a war with Palestinians but with Hamas, adding that the terror organization does not care about Palestinian people, peace or even dialogue. As the Israeli Defense Forces have been announcing that Israel's ground forces are expanding their operations and they are now prepared on all fronts to preserve the security of their country. That's the breaking update that we are getting as of now.
How much do you know about Hamas?
As a rival faction that has terrorized Israel and the Palestinian people for more than 30 years.
During the first and second Intifada, Hamas committed suicide bombings throughout Israel. They bombed buses, supermarkets and restaurants.
Both IDF soldiers and Israeli civilians were
also bombing one of Tel Aviv's most popular streets, Dizengoff, leaving 22 innocent people dead. 1989, 2 soldiers kidnapped and murdered. 1996, another bombing, 45 killed. 2001, 19 killed in another terrorist attack. 2003, 17 murdered. 2006, Hamas terrorists abduct Gilad Shalit. 2014, Hamas terrorists dress up as Orthodox Jews, abduct 3 teens and mercilessly kill them.
For the abduction and cold-blooded murder of the young men.
During the IDF response, 2 IDF soldiers were abducted. They are held in Gaza to this day.
But to this day, Hamas has not acknowledged that he was killed.
Hamas has been attacking Israel for 36 years. Make no mistake, these are terrorists. The October 7th massacre wasn't the first atrocity by the hands of Hamas, and it won't be the last unless we stop them. And we will stop them.
Well, in another claim that is being made by the Israeli Defense Forces, they go on to say that the Shifa hospital is not only the largest hospital in Gaza, but it also acts as the main headquarters for Hamas's terror activity. They say that terrorism does not belong in the hospital and the IDF will operate to uncover any terror infrastructure. As IDF has been saying that military charges, a terror group has also several underground complexes under Gaza's largest hospital. Says hundreds of terrorists have flooded into the hospital to hide, and that happened right after the 7th of October massacres that was carried out by them. And this is Shifa hospital, which is the largest hospital in the Gaza Strip. As the IDF says, they are being used by the terror group's leaders to direct attacks against Israel.
Based on a wide range of intelligence from the Intelligence Directorate and the ISA, we have located Hamas's headquarters underneath the Shifa hospital compound. Here you can see multiple underground complexes along with an access point located inside of the mosque to a complex spiderweb of terrorist infrastructure used to plan and conduct terrorist activities. Hamas has blatantly placed their own civilians as their shields. Not only do they hide underneath it, they also abuse the hospital's electricity and fuel supply that should be used for the people of Gaza. Hamas controls the energy resources of Gaza. Hamas has chosen to divert these vital resources for terrorism at the expense of Gazan people. This is a tragic reality for Gazans, and Hamas is responsible for it.
Well, viewers, the brutality unleashed by Hamas on Israel has shocked the world, but in the manner in which these terrorists have hunted down innocent civilians is frightening to say the least. The Israeli Defense Forces have released a new audio tape from the day of the unprecedented attack that happened on the 7th of October. And in this purported conversation between an alleged conversation that happened between a Hamas terrorist in Israel and his commander, as the Hamas terrorist is heard instructing other gunmen not to spare anyone and kill literally anyone that they find.
ابو خليل هي الو الو تعال قدم خليك معي تعال محمد يا بلغ كل عائلة ابو رياض احنا جوا بلغ كل الناس احنا جوا والله لا نفسركم تفسير انت ولا يهمل انت برا يهمل تعال خليل انت برا ولا ربنا يوفقك ان شاء الله. الله يعرف. ايه واحد يبلغ يا ابو خليل.
השיחה מוקלטת מעכשיו.
واحد راح فلفل خليه يبلغ هذول قبل ما تخش علينا.
הסתיימה.
معلم. الو. سجل المكالمة عجعنا جوا. مين اللي بطخها؟
השיחה מוקלטת מעכשיו.
الو. معك. سجل المكالمة يا حج هينا جوا. اولاد عايشين بنعيم. مستعجلين. والله لا انشرفوا بعض ورا الثاني. قدم اللي بتلاقيه تكلوه. براء اسمع طلع اسمه. براء سمعتوه؟ اللي مع رشا. وين رشا الدنيا؟ ابوه وين رشا الدنيا؟ مشينا انا برا بالشارع. خليك مع السماعه اسمع طخ الخبط الحين. ابغى لك اصحى جوا. عم سودنك عليه ضمن سودنك. عليه ضغط على الباب افتحه. يلا عشان لا تحكم عليهم. سلام شوي برجع لكم. يلا.
Now remember, this comes just days after another similar tape was released, allegedly a phone conversation between a Hamas terrorist and his family. And it is a tape that shakes the very conscience of every human being, no matter which side of this war that you're on. Let us remind you that Timestamp does not vouch for the authenticity of these audio tapes that have been released by the IDF. And this audio tape that we talk about, the terrorist who is heard calling up his family from the phone of an Israeli Jew that he claims he had murdered just a short while back. He then goes on to flaunt his kill list, says that his family must be proud because their son is a hero who killed 10 Jews with his own bare hands. But at a time when Israel has been on the receiving end of the criticism for the alleged atrocities in Gaza, can these people really whitewash this cold-blooded act of terror?
Hello. يابا. طب انا قاعد اكلمك من جوا بسيم. افتح الواتس تبعه قول له وين شوف كيف القتله، شوف كيف قتلك بيدي يابا، ابنك قتل يهود، هاي دخلوا بسيم يابا. الله اكبر. ربنا يحميك يا رب، ربنا يحميك يابا، ربنا يحميك يابا. قاعد اكلمك من جوال يهوديه قتلتها وقتلت جوزها. الله اكبر. الله اكبر ولله الحمد. الله اكبر ولله الحمد. يابا افتح الواتس شوف كيف قتلك يابا. افتح بدي عليك واتس قول له وين بروح. ربنا يوفقك بالسلامه يا رب. يابا اجوا بالحين يابا والله 10 قتلت 10 بيدي يابا على ايدي. اعطيني امي يما يسميك يما طول الليل 10 بيدي يما 10 يما بيدي قتلت طول الليل ادعي لك يما طول الليل ادعي لك. ربنا يرحمك بالسلامه يما. ربنا يرحمك يما. اعمل لك تبص مباشر من جوا. ادعي لك يما طول الليل ادورني معاك يما. ربنا يحميك بطل يما. اقتلك ربنا يحميك يما. خذ يما ربنا يحميك. محمود يابا. محمود انت وين؟ انا جوا مفلسين عليه جوا 10 يا عليه 10 بيدي قاعد اكلمك من جوال يهوديه. كذا 10 والله. وانت في زكيم؟ انا في زكيم مو في زكيم. انا صرت الكاري. انا اول فقره بدات بفضل الله عز وجل. انا اقول ارفع راسك يابا فوق. ارفع راسك يابا. انت في نص السكاري جوا انت؟ جوا على المدينه. في النص السكاري جوا. افتح الواتس شوف كيف الخط قتلكم على الفون. افتح الواتس تبعي. خلاص ارجعوا خلاص ارجعوا. ايش ارجعوا مش رجعوا؟ اما نصر لك شهاده امي ولدتني عشان هذا الدين على مالك على وين ارجع. محمود ادعينا محمود ادعينا. طب افتح الواتس تبع شوف كيف القتله. شوف افتح افتح الواتس تبع افتح. دخيلك يا محمود زينا. ربنا يوفقك ربنا يثبتك يا رب. ربنا يثبتك يا رب. تبعك الوقت سمع الوقت جوالي على جمعة جوالي.
أنا محمود.
وين افتح واتس افتح واتس افتحي.
أفتح جوالك؟
افتح جوالي على الواتس افتح شوف القتل كم قتلتم بيدي.
طيب أمانة ترجع بالله عليك ترجع الضغط.
افتح جوالي برجبوني.
ضبوط ولا لمس؟ يلا جوال محمود.
Well, as far as the information that has been shared by the Israeli Defense Forces on part of the Shifa hospital, which is said to be the largest hospital in Gaza, but the Israeli forces maintain that it acts as a main headquarters for Hamas's terror activity. Let me straight away go across to Pradeep Datta, who is joining us live from Israel, and he has been tracking all of the developments, especially when it comes to the ground invasion. And there has been a frenzied activity now being reported, Pradeep, on part of the Israeli Defense Forces in Gaza.
Yes, you're absolutely right. There seems to be no sign of de-escalation. During the last few hours, we have seen that Israel has ramped up their airstrikes as well as the ground attacks. We have seen that how during the last 48 hours, there had been limited ground strikes where they had been trying to move inside the Gaza Strip. They're trying to target their terror den. They're trying to target their command and control center, and also trying to target where from they had been launching rockets and trying to target their tanks. So during the last few hours, we have seen that the strikes have increased, and even the ground strike has also increased, and that's one of the reasons that the telecommunication network has also been snapped. There is no telecommunication network, and that means these terrorists who are inside the Gaza, they will not get in touch with their commanders. Idea behind snapping this internet and telecommunication network was that they had been trying to prevent mobilization of these terrorists inside the Gaza. They had also been trying to prevent mobilization of the civilians, because they had been Hamas terrorists has been using civilians as human shield, and they had always been trying to mobilize them. They wanted their casualties so that they can tell the world that see how Israelis had been targeting the civilian. And they've also been trying to prevent the mobilization of the world opinion, because every time whenever there is a strike,
and Pradeep has been telling us how, especially when it comes to the terror activity that is being carried out, is one of those densely populated areas, whether it comes to schools and even the largest hospital in Gaza, where terrorism, as IDF says, does not belong in a hospital, and they will operate to uncover any terror infrastructure. Take a look at this video.
Are Hamas headquarters? Are they under a school, a university, a mosque, a hospital? All of the above. Based on a wide range of intelligence from the Intelligence Directorate and the ISA, we have located Hamas's headquarters underneath the Shifa hospital compound. Here you can see multiple underground complexes along with an access point located inside of the mosque to a complex spiderweb of terrorist infrastructure used to plan and conduct terrorist activities. Hamas has blatantly placed their own civilians as their shields. Not only do they hide underneath it, they also abuse the hospital's electricity and fuel supply that should be used for the people of Gaza. Hamas controls the energy resources of Gaza. Hamas has chosen to divert these vital resources for terrorism at the expense of Gazan people. This is a tragic reality for Gazans, and Hamas is responsible for it.
Well, that's a video that has been released by the IDF suggesting that even hospitals are being used as terror infrastructure. Pradeep, thank you very much. We'll come back to you with more updates. In the meantime, we head into a short break. You're watching Times Now.